Hey everyone, welcome to the Doom of Life podcast where we talk to interesting people and their journey to success. I'm your host, Gilsar Vergara.
Hey everyone, this is Gilsar Vergara back again with another video, another podcast, another exciting podcast. I'm with a guy that's literally, he's another Batman in Davao. So, another financial advisor, life and wellness. If you follow him on Facebook, you're gonna see that the man's ripped. The guy works out. The guy does a lot of things. This is like this guy's nasty in Muay Thai as well. So we're gonna go deeper into more the mindset, like again the mindset, the drive, what it takes to be this particular person, or the what it takes to be to have that successful drive to where you want to be in life. So I wanted to introduce my friend, Mr. Arvin.
Thank you so much, Gil. So my name is actually Arvin Jo, but most people know me as Arvin. And, of course, I have a bunch of funny nicknames growing up. And
What are some?
oh, man, I can't tell you. Right? Yeah, this show in Disney, like there's Upin and Ipin.
Are you familiar? Yeah.
So I used to be like semi-calbo, as they call it in Filipino. And people make fun of me back then because I was extremely thin. And right now, it's an extremely huge difference between what I am now and how I was before. I was extremely thin back then. People used to make fun of my physique. And I play basketball a lot. And the culture here in Philippine basketball, there's a lot of people that's going to make fun of you, call you certain names outside.
Get all to your head.
Not really, man. I mean, when I was still like soft-skinned of an individual, yeah, of course. But that TV show, there's like Ipin, okay? So I'm not really sure which of the two, but there's this guy that like just doesn't have a hair. He's like a small, lanky, thin kid. And my friends used to call me that because I was... That's technically how I behaved. I did not have much of a character.
Right.
My personality was extremely far from what it is right now, what the camera sees and what the world sees, what everyone sees. And I was just like living life, playing basketball, going to sleep, eat, play basketball again. And I used to join leagues, and they're like, Ipin.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, like, what the hell does that mean? I don't even watch the show. It's only because of them that I got into that. So like, that's one of the funnier nicknames I had. Other ones, I used to get called like last year, like Arjo, because
Arjo.
yeah, I don't even know why. It started in this whole empowered leadership program. My nickname is Arvin, and then of course my last name is Jo. People call me Arvin Jo sometimes, but they formed it like a shortcut.
Arjo, what?
Yeah, so they call me Arjo. I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, where did that come from? So, yeah, those kind of nicknames, I totally can't take them out of my mind. It just really sometimes cringes me, but there's a lot of memories attached to that. So, yeah, that's how most people call me. Just call me Arvin, guys. Just call me Arvin.
So that's Mr.
Yeah.
Arvin, and for some reason Filipinos cut things down. Even you can have a nickname, but they cut it down to like one syllable sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But great. And ladies, it doesn't look like it right now. The guy's ripped, man. This guy's a hunk right here. Okay, so let's get into the day to day. What does the day to day look like for you? When do you wake up? What things you do to try to get your day going and get that mind right?
I like that question because most of the time, I've always assessed myself on what my actual day should look like. So before I get to answer that, there's a lot of people who romanticize and idealize this whole idea of waking up at certain time, like 5 a.m., 4 a.m., and, I've always tried that, like from time to time, like just for me to push and to create some differential for myself, like maybe try something new and maybe get my system excited again.
Right.
Sometimes I try that, but I'm not gonna lie, I can't wake up at 5 a.m. Yeah, I just can't do that. But the normal day for me, I start off, usually I wake up at around 8 a.m.
Okay.
And then sometimes 9. Like, I'll be honest, guys, I just got up to bed like 9 a.m. today. But here's the thing, I always make it sure that the first thing that I do in the morning is to serve myself.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what my ideal morning looks like. Now, how does that look like? For me, first and foremost, it's my daily practice of meditation.
Okay.
I'm trying to work my way to having an hour dedicated to meditation, but that's extremely tough for me.
It is tough. Yeah, I think so for everyone who's busy.
Yeah, like I've tried it before. Here's the funny thing: I've done an hour, but usually based on the pattern of experiences that I've had, every single time I reach around 40 to the 45-minute mark, I start getting dizzy.
Wow.
I'm not really sure what happens inside of me, but it feels good. Other than that, everything feels good. I feel calm. I feel more relaxed. It's almost like I have my whole day written.
Right.
It's like I have a script now, what to do for the day. It's like God's giving me this direction because I really love the idea of meditation. Most people say that they do that just to be calm, just to be more relaxed. But for me, it's more of my practice of being connected to God.
Yes.
It's like when you pray, it's you talking to God. It's you showing gratitude to God. But we've always asked ourselves, or we've always asked, like, when do you hear God? Where do you get this source of
Yes.
of what God is trying to tell you? And I believe that through meditation, that's where I get to hear Him, through silence. And it's not really like through verbal. It's like He just drops ideas.
You're conscious. Yeah.
Exactly. He just drops all of these gold nuggets. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'll talk to this person.
Right.
Shockingly enough, once you start doing those kind of things, it just comes into fruition that everything that that was written in that meditative practice comes to fruition in life, and you just start to manifest things. It's weird, man. Like, I'm not really this spiritual before, but when you get to experience evidences, you start to tell yourself, okay, this is working. My old practices might have worked, but I'd rather stick with this one. So that's the first thing that I do every single morning. Of course, I have that direction with God. I need to know where I'm going.
Right.
Now, of course, usually around 15 minutes to 20 minutes is my sweet spot for meditation. After that, I'm not really sure about this whole system of the intermittent fasting.
Yes.
I'd like to start my day hungry.
Hungry.
Yeah. There's a reason for that. There's this whole, it's not just about intermittent fasting, but I've read somewhere before that us men, I'm going to be speaking for most men here, but we have this whole caveman roots.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of, don't forget your roots. No, don't forget your roots, guys, right?
Yeah.
So we have this form of hunter and gatherer attitude back in the day where when you wake up, the first thing that a caveman does is to actually hunt. Yeah, you have to hunt. And of course, things have changed eventually from that era up to now. But our definition of hunting today, it's basically still hunting when you're starting to work on your business, when you work on yourself, when you work on multiple things. So that's technically still hunting. But the bottom line that kind of lesson is trying to say is that for you to be able to feed your family, your tribe, your circle, your family, you have to be doing work.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
And for me, my sign of me not forgetting my roots is I cannot just go against biology.
Right.
For the simple fact that I now have technology, we now have all this new forms of ideas today. I cannot just stray away and deny the fact that I came from a certain form of experience.
Right.
And just completely neglect that. I have to stick with that. And for me, back in the day, as I started this whole practice, I just realized that I started becoming more productive because now I have to hunt, I have to work.
Yes.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be so dramatic.
Yeah.
Most people, when they start hearing this, like, I'm not gonna eat until I close the deal. No, you don't have to be that. You don't have to be that OA in Filipino terms. You don't have to be that OA, but you have to tell yourself that, okay, I must do the work now.
Right.
Probably with myself first. So after like meditation, I start with, of course, either it really goes multiple ways. First one is, of course, I either start learning something new.
Yes.
Yeah. And most times it's mostly in the realms of, number one, human psychology. I just love how humans and seeing how people behave. Sometimes it's
History never changes.
Human never changes. Yeah. So eras change, industrialization comes in, but the way people behave, our psyche doesn't change.
No.
And it's always going to remain a topic for me to explore. I believe as people evolve, you have so much more to learn about them.
Of course. Yeah.
So that's one thing that I love learning about. Of course, since I'm in business, I of course love to work on like learning new things. Yeah, but there's infinite things in business that you could learn.
Yeah.
I want to circle on what I could actually implement in my own business as a financial consultant, as an investment planner, as a forex fund manager, all of these kind of things. I want to see how I can become that best leader as I start training people, because that's technically my purpose now. But yeah, of course, the third thing that I also learn about is like, how do I improve myself on a mindset level?
Right.
The way I see it is that our mind is always programmed to some degree. Like maybe last week you were listening to this certain podcast, you're listening to a certain song, and maybe it has a lot of impact on you. Sometimes I just listen to one song or like one podcast again and again and again. I could almost memorize the whole segment.
Yeah.
But the reason I listen to that is because I've seen something that's able to program me the way I want to function for the day.
Yes.
So why would I stray away from that? Why would I choose something else if it's already working for me? Yeah. So most of the time I really dedicate a lot to that. Just whatever it is that I find it to improve myself. And until I master that, until I start, from coming in from here, me hearing things, to now me actually doing it and actually seeing the results for myself so that I could now share to people, I would not stop. So you'd be shocked, man, if you'd stay at our house and you'd like listen to what I listen to. You'd be like, Arvin, you just listened to that last week. And you've listened to that like a month before. So what are you doing, bro? Like, that's how it is. Yeah, so, and then of course, after learning something new, that's where I get to work out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is not a day that I've skipped working out. Yeah. It doesn't matter if I work out for an hour or 2 hours or if things go well, like 3 hours. Yeah. Sometimes you don't have anything else to do. Yeah. Like all your business to-do lists have been filled, have been checked. So like, instead of like sleeping, I'd rather like perform on something. There's infinite things that you could work on to improve yourself. And I love to applying that to myself. And well, right now, technically, the way I see it is that I cannot just let go of the practice of daily working out. It could be an hour, it could be 5 minutes, but I still have to move.
Yes.
Yeah, as men, we are designed to move. We're designed to fight, and we're designed to hunt for something.
Yes.
That's why here in this lifetime, it's really my drive. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And after going through all of those ways for me to serve myself, that's only when I get to serve a lot of people, because now I've filled my cup. And I've always believed that you cannot fill the cups of others if your own cup has not yet been filled. So I can only give what I have. So that's pretty much it. And for that, the rest of the day is decide to make money. Yeah. That's my focus, guys. Yeah. So for me to make money by serving people.
No, that definitely resonates with me, because I too believe that like you cannot bless someone without being blessed yourself. Yeah, and in the cup form, if you're filling water, how can I give somebody else more water if my cup is not overflowing? Yeah. And that's a philosophy that my wife and I have lived for a very long time. And going back to having that drive, hunting, it seems as if like today's day and age, although we don't have spears and bows and arrows or like anything like that, we do have tools still.
Of course.
Tools being the internet, tools being, so many things right now. And basically, like, from what I'm hearing, you're like a tuning fork.
Yeah.
So once you bang the tuning fork, the only way you can get that is to reverberate.
Yeah.
Is actually banging it and actually reverberating and like letting the vibe come out.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand the whole making sure you're okay before everything else is okay.
Definitely.
Let's get into a bit deeper. Like, who maybe a particular person who has motivated you or inspired you in life?
Oh man, you're gonna like this.
Okay.
So since we're talking to most men, and I find it interesting because in the existence of a man, there's a lot of times that God has actually given him opportunities for him to fulfill his destiny. Okay, so that sounds kind of deep, but basically, the things that you ask for, God is not going to give you directly. Like when you ask for patience, it's not gonna give you like, okay, you're now patient. No, you can go there and just go through life not being pissed about anything. I don't really believe in that, but instead, God is going to give you certain tests.
Yes.
For you to practice patience. So I talk about patience a lot because I used to be an extremely impatient person. Sometimes, like, I still have these bursts of patience from time to time. But I remember this. Here's a short story. I believe this was back in, I believe, 2020 or 2021. So as you may recall, for a lot of people here, they would definitely recall that for almost the entirety of 2020, we're just like locked down, man.
Yeah,
like
locked down.
Like the farthest thing I could go is the end of the village.
Wow.
Like for me to go out of the village, it requires something, and for me to go to SM or to the mosque, it requires another. It's too much hassle, man. It's too much hassle, too much headache. So eventually, all of these are built into me. Like, I just want to get out the house.
Yeah.
It start building this whole impatience inside of me.
Yeah.
So eventually, when 2021 came in, things start getting a little bit loose.
Right.
Right? So you start now to, you can now go out now. Yeah. Yeah, you can go back to life slowly, right? So I asked for like patience that time because I found myself extremely impatient. Yeah, like I almost get pissed off at the smallest things. Like, for example, I see here like some mess and I'm like, why is it there? It could be here. Like, a few meters. It
bothers you and so.
Yeah, I believe it's just because of how like things have locked into me during the lockdown. Like being in one space alone just kills me, the hunter inside of me, like wanting to explore things. So I just have this built-in impatience inside of me. And I started asking, I cannot go through my day just being extremely impatient.
Right.
Right? I asked, I'm not that much of a religious person, but I do believe in prayer. I do believe in communicating with God in God's direction. So I asked that, Lord, can you please like guide me, make me more patient of an individual?
Right.
And here's the shocking thing, because the first few times I went out the house, started driving my car again, it was always traffic. I don't know why. There should not be traffic because it just started this whole, you can now go out. And, some people are still within their, right? They're still in their house. But it seems like almost every single time I go out the house, regardless of what time it is, there's like traffic. Or if there's not traffic, there's like this huge truck that's blocked the road completely because it like shut down. And I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Right.
That's when I started to realize, okay, the best thing that I can do here at this point is to just relax, practice patience. And then eventually, I started losing that impatience. I did not become patient directly. I just started losing that kind of temper that I had. So, the way I see it is that it's extremely funny how life gives you and God gives you these kinds of trials. But to go back to your question, I believe when you ask for something, that's how God will give you. And I've always asked for so many things. Let's just be honest. A lot of us men want a lot of things in this life.
Of course.
Yeah, you want to be great. You want to be an influencer. You want to be known to people as someone as a certain status. There's a lot of ways and there's a lot of things that you aspire for.
Yes.
And I would remember this completely. I would speak for a lot of men because heartbreak is probably one of the most powerful motivators for any guy. Yeah, I could speak for a lot of men here. I could remember, I'm not gonna say the name. Yeah, the person's probably gonna watch this anyway, so I don't like, but we're good friends. She knows the story. But there was a certain time in my life where I kind of liked this girl. And every guy, like in this village, I used to live in Parañaque, Metro Manila back then. There's this girl like everyone likes. Yeah, and like I did not know what I was doing, man. I'm not like who I am today. I have this knowledge of. I just want to do things that I feel could actually make the person feel good, and I feel special. So yeah, there's this girl. Everyone likes her. I started thinking like, what is the best way for me to get her attention? Yeah, to get her attention because she's everyone's. Yeah, everyone has her.
Everyone's hunting for her.
Yeah, everyone's hunting for her, bro. Yeah. So like, okay. The way I did it was like I had to put in the extra effort. Oh man, I feel the system inside me cringing now, but that's technically how this goes. Usually when I remember this whole story. So there's this girl and I started, talking to her that time. And then of course I wanted to ask her to a date.
Yeah.
I don't even know what a date means back. It's like go here, eat here. That was my idea. But
how old were you at this point?
Oh man, like I think I just transitioned from high school to
18, 19?
Can't remember. It was that long. Yeah. But the transition from fourth year high school, then you graduate, then to first year college. So it wasn't really much back then. I did not have much of an awareness.
Right.
And yeah, this girl, all men know this term flake. You get flaked on, right?
Of course.
Yeah, you got flaked on. I got flaked on like 3 times. Yeah.
Oh, you asked her for a date and then she didn't show up?
I asked her for a date.
Right.
And, it's actually just walking distance, our house and her house in Parañaque. So I asked her, like, we'll go out here at this certain time. I'll pick you up, blah, 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 and all that. Set the whole schedule, right? Every single time that it's just an hour before the date itself.
Yeah.
she'd come up with some excuse like
Yeah.
my this, just that, the dog just ate that, and this the bird just like what the hell, the things that don't happen any day, like I have that,
Except that.
things that don't happen on a regular basis. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure back then I used to believe it, by the way. Yeah. Right now the cringe in me is like
The one is so high for you, except any excuse.
yeah, like she just bumped her head. So what the hell, man, it's impossible that
The ceiling fell on my head.
almost anything. The world ended, and now you just wake. I forgot, man. But anyway, when I finally was on the brink of giving up,
Yes.
I planned out on doing this whole thing. So I wrote her this letter and this whole. Are you familiar with Manila paper, man?
Yeah.
The paper,
The
like,
big one.
Cartolina. I'm sorry,
Cartolina, yeah.
it's Cartolina, right? So started, writing things there, like things I would like. It took me like 2 Cartolinas, bro. The font is this size, so what do you imagine? Like, it looks smaller than this one, bro.
yeah.
It's bad, bro. But I gave her that plus some Nutella.
Oh, jeez. It went all out.
Favorite. It was her favorite.
Went all out there.
So I gave her that. And then finally, she said yes.
Wow.
To a date.
Okay.
But I know now it's basically because of pity, right?
Yeah.
So we finally went on a date. I swear that was the worst date ever.
Oh, wow. Even the build-up, you're like, oh, what happened here? Like,
Yeah. I'm not even sure if there was a build-up. It's more like she's just waiting for the date to finish.
Oh, my.
I brought her in this whole... It's somewhere in BGC. I forgot the name of the restaurant. But it costs a little bit. So I have to ask my mom. I don't have money about that, right?
Yeah.
So I had to ask her and bring her there. And and we had probably, for me that time, the best date ever. Right now, it's probably the worst date.
You're living in the mall.
Oh my God, man. So after that, we went into the taxi. I started, I don't know how to converse with her, by the way. Like to have these kind of conversations back then. I did not have that broad level of knowledge for me to know what certain topics to talk about.
Right.
So there was like a lot of time. Silence, like a
Really awkwardness. Really awkward.
we had a lot of that. So yeah, dude, after that date, as if the date itself wasn't that bad yet. Going home in the taxi with her, she did not speak a word to me. Not even, she was, so you're in the backseat of the taxi, right?
Yeah.
I was here in the middle. She was like at the very corner.
Like wanted to.
Like just at least you could fit at least another person here. Imagine, I'm in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So she's trying to really like go there for me.
Yeah.
I gave her a bouquet, by the way.
Right.
At that time. So she's like holding the bouquet. Like,
Oh, she's really like trying to escape.
trying to escape.
Yeah.
Internally, I was feeling something was off. Because of course your gut would never fail you. Somehow, no matter how young you are, you started having all of these compilation and collection of experiences. I just knew something was off. And knowing that, obviously, for the fact that she wouldn't talk to me. So, I dropped her off the house. She did not even want to hug me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this time, yeah, good night, Arv. And went in. I then went home. So, it was really one of the worst experiences. The next day, I think I told her, how are you?
Man, hey, what's up? Yeah.
Had to tell her that, and then she did not reply. Another day, she did not reply. Until eventually, her best friend told me, she doesn't want to talk to you, Arv.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you know it was out of pity.
What the hell did I do?
Yeah.
So what the hell did I do? And I remember doing the best that I can. Like,
Right.
I started becoming this whole stalker guy. I started sending her this, giving her that, chatting her here, chatting here, telling her friends to tell her that I'm actually trying to contact her. And she became annoyed, obviously. Like a pretty woman like that has so much attention. Plus,
Right.
now I'm using people in her space.
To try to communicate with her.
It wasn't that effective, obviously. So I could remember this sentence, this whole statement that she actually sent me that actually changed the course of my life.
Wow.
There was this phone, I forgot the phone. It's like it's my phone. It's not iPhone, huh?
No, the yellow one. The yellow one. Yeah.
I was going through there, excited. Finally, she
Message you.
finally messaged me. So it's just like it's written there, like the name, one message. So finally, man, open the message. I read there, Arvin, wag mo na ako kausapin. Okay? Ayaw na rin kitang kausapin.
Right.
And here's the statement that actually broke me and then made me, recreated me.
Right.
She told me, tandaan mo na lang na kahit saan ka pumunta, parating may makakalamang sa'yo. And then she ended there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she ended it there. Obviously I did some flood messaging, did not work. Her friends blocked me, she blocked me, and I did not have any form. My friends started making fun of me that time because like, haha, bro,
Like, you got mustard or whatever.
you're messed up. They're the way on those kind of things. So that started it all for me because I remember going from like reading that, and putting my phone down, looking myself in the mirror with tears. I really cried my heart out at that time. And then I realized something like, Arv, you better get started on working on yourself. I don't know how, by the way. I did not know how because I was too young to even know what self-development actually means. And how to actually work on that. But I was an athlete back then. So the first thing that actually started that was I have to work on my skills in basketball. Yeah, because that's the sport that got me all started, that got me fired up. I don't love playing basketball as much as I did back then. I don't have that fire within me. But that fire that was fueled by that experience, it brought me to a realization that if I'm able to convert this energy, the fire inside of me, into any other platform, I could completely dominate any industry that I get myself into. Not even just any industry. Any form of activity that I lay my hands on, that I put my attention to, I can absolutely dominate for the simple fact that I have this much fire inside of me. And it's through purpose. It's not because I wanted to prove to other people, but of course, I wanted to prove to her. Let's just, bro, like I wanted to be better than, yeah. But it was me telling myself that, you know what, Arv, you either look yourself tomorrow again as the loser that you are now. It's hard. It's kind of harsh of a statement. It's either you look into the mirror again, seeing the same loser that you are today.
Yes.
Or you're going to be proud of yourself because you got a little bit better at something.
Makes sense.
Right? So I just basically did all the kind of work needed. And that's where this whole inspiration came in. I don't go to the gym. I don't go to the gym at that point in my life. I have not tried, heavy weights.
Right.
But I did have a couple of like dumbbells there. Used to be very heavy for me, like 7.5 pounds, bro. Yeah. Started working on that. Did 100 push-ups every single day. Did at least 100 sit-ups every single day as well. Because the more I focus on doing these activities, the physical pain allows me to have an escape from the mental breakdown that could be made for me by just simply sitting here and, like
thinking about it
through the experience.
Yeah.
Because it still hurts me.
Yeah.
And then eventually, my parents now allowed me to take some supplements. That's where I started seeing the growth in my physique. And again, like I stressed a while ago, the more you see evidence of something is working in you, working because of the things that you're doing, the more you get fired up. Because now, okay, I'm able to make this much. How much more can I make if I'm able to put in this level of effort next time? Or at least I have this much leverage to work on. So that made me realize that the only way that I could proceed to my next level is by doing more work. But not just more work, doing it more efficiently.
Right.
And that technically started it all for me. Yeah, but other than that, I'm not gonna lie, I still had a bunch of heartbreaks, but that basically started
one.
If you were to give me a fuel, a certain experience, even up until this point, that will fuel me to the highest echelons of my life, definitely give me heartbreak.
Wow.
Break my heart. Yeah, like, I'm not asking to like be fooled.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna get your heart broken if you're fully aware of what's about to happen. But if I get my heart broken, like they tell you, there's 3 major lessons in life that a man must go through, for him to break through life, and that is of course empty pockets, an empty stomach, and of course heartbreak. I'm not gonna lie, man. For me, amongst those 3, heartbreak really resonates with me. Yeah, it started it for me.
So it seems as if like the common denominator is obsession.
Obsession.
When you were obsessed with the girl because you wanted to catch that, because you were hunting for that. And then that heartbreak was pretty much one of the catalysts or main catalysts to get you to that mode where you need to be, the track or the journey or the road to the journey where you need to be.
Absolutely.
That's really amazing because, you know what, a lot of men and women, especially men with men's mental health and everything, a lot of men don't get over that stuff and then they resort to drinking, maybe even worse, even drugs, because they want to either just for that day get rid of the problem.
Dopamine, man.
Dopamine, And I wish more people took your route.
Yeah.
Played basketball, went to the gym, did something, walking.
Yeah.
Maybe play with a dog, go adopt a dog if you want to. But don't resort to digging yourself into a bigger hole. That's my point. Because you're right. 'Cause I've had empty pockets, I've had empty stomach, and yes, I've gone through heartbreak. But that's why I treat my wife the way I treat them, because I've been through it. Everyone's been through enough where hopefully you've learned how to conduct yourself properly on both ways. And going back to God, that's like that really resonates with me when it comes to when you ask for something, it'll come through test.
Definitely.
Yeah. So going back into a little bit of, not so much into business, but what are the traits to be successful in your field? For those of the people that are watching this and maybe want to get into that field, what is outside of obsession, because you have to really be into it.
Yeah, man. You cannot teach that way.
Yeah, no. Well, what do you think are one of the 1 to 2 traits that you do need to become successful in the field, or any field that when it pertains to business and making money?
Okay, so in regards to making money, you don't have to be really good at all things, but you have to be the best, probably, if you want to be like top of mind, best in class in your own field. You have to be at least one of the best in that industry. Doesn't have to be like you're fully skilled at one thing. You just have to focus your attention. 48 laws of power says that you have to center all of your attention at something. And when you get that, that's when you start diversifying your attention. It doesn't work how most people view it. Like, I'm gonna start these 5 businesses sabay-sabay. It doesn't work like that. You have to focus on one thing, and then when you start having that momentum, then you can maybe you can start building on the side this one.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, number 1 is you have to master in my own specific industry. I have to master, should I say, instead of saying selling, I have to master persuasion. And I have to say this, I have to stress this a lot, because a lot of people believe that they only have to learn persuasion for them to become good in business. No. You will have a lot of benefit from the simple fact that you've mastered, or even for the fact that you're a student of persuasion.
Right.
You get to understand human nature. You get to communicate better to people. You get to get the things that you want, because it should be a win-win for a person and for you, both at the same time.
Right.
For something perfect, for some venture to take place. It's not like I'm winning here, you're losing, and I'm getting what I want, and you're getting the short end of the stick. It cannot work like that. So persuasion will definitely allow you to reach certain levels that you would not have otherwise, you would never otherwise reach if you were not to learn that in the first place. So it will apply to almost everything. The simple fact that I'm trying to communicate to a lot of people here and to you, that's me persuading them that, okay, this is my experience. If you're in the same cup, if you're in the same point in life as I was back then, or maybe at this point, then we can share this track. You can do the same things. And maybe you'd get to your point B by doing the things I did. It's up to you. That's definitely persuasion. But beyond that, we're in an era today. We're in a stage where you have to be creative.
Right.
Yeah. You have to be creative, because that's basically the theme today.
Yeah.
This whole thing is creativity.
Right.
We're in the age of AI. And I believe when people mix and when people use their creativity plus their personality, I don't care what level of AI you have. You're not going to be able to compete against someone who has that level of creativity plus personality, because you cannot duplicate the person. I cannot be you, you cannot be me.
Of course.
Right? So you have to have some degree of creativity blending in with your personality, your character as an individual. But beyond that, today, I'm not even sure if this is a skill, but you have to have discipline.
That is, it's very easy to say I have it, but it's very hard to obtain it.
I forgot, man, who said this. I believe it's Kobe. But it's Jordan. Jordan's greatest skill was actually learning, being a student. It's not that much of a skill like, parang, I'm good at this one, I'm good at leadership here. But when you're a student of life, you're a sponge, and you take in considering that you're in the right space first and foremost, so you have to take into consideration and have enough awareness to distinguish which is a bad place for you to grow and which is a good place for you to grow. First, you grow in the place where you prosper, where you flourish. But considering that, for as long as you have this skill to tell yourself, to remind yourself that I must remain a student regardless of where I'm at right now, or wherever else I'll be eventually in the future, I believe that's what will allow you to thrive, not just here in this industry, but in any industry.
Yeah.
Because life is ever evolving, business is ever evolving, human psychology is ever evolving, though it has its foundations, but you must evolve as well. So if I were to give those skills, I forgot who said this, but someone said that it's not really like the strongest of the species, right? The what you call that?
Darwin from survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah.
I don't really believe that the strongest is actually the one that's going to thrive in the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may win a few battles, but it's not going to win the war. I do believe the person who adapts the best
Yes.
into his environment, to the industry that he allows himself to grow into,
Yes.
is the one that's going to thrive. That's it. That's technically the art of war.
Going back to like evolution,
Yeah.
there are so many homotypes of human, not human beings, but you know, what if you believe in evolution? I mean, from monkeys, apes, all the way to what we are now. How many versions have had
Exactly.
gone through? But the best one, like you said, is the one that adapted the most.
Yeah.
Same thing with birds. Same thing with just look at dinosaurs. Let me touch Rex.
Yes.
Big, strong guy. Like, is he around still?
They were the alpha, man. They were the alpha man.
Not there. I think the closest relative to dinosaurs now is like chickens. And
Imagine from being the top of the line predator was to the one being eaten, man. To the one being hunted. Yeah.
yeah,
It's funny, man. Yeah.
definitely adaptability. That I definitely agree with you with that because, you know, even in fighting,
Oh, yeah.
you look at the people that are big, muscular, and stuff like that. They might be good for a few hits if they can grab you, they can hit you hard. But the guy who's more agile,
Yeah.
can understand the sides of how that guy's moving or that person's moving, and really break it down mentally. Okay, this guy does this every single time. I need to be at this angle and things like that. Whoever the smartest person, honestly, there. Now, strength is always a good trait,
Of course.
but with intelligence,
Yeah.
you'd be amazing. It's pretty much unstoppable to some degree.
For sure.
What are the? See, I always like you because you're refined, you're articulate, you're very good at these things. What if you were to give anyone 3 books
Oh, yeah.
that really, like, you know what, puts you onto the position, like flipped you 180? These are the 3 books that really made you
Oh, yeah.
and helped you who you are right now. What did you recommend those 3 books are?
Yeah. So I'm just going to come up for the books that I have in mind right now. But
Yeah.
one book that will never skip its place in my head is the 48 Laws of Power.
Okay.
Yeah. The reason for that is, well, first of all, people want to be powerful. People desire to be powerful. People desire to have that level of influence
Yeah.
in their own space, or with the majority of people. Obviously, who doesn't want power? But beyond that, once you start learning about power, you start to also learn that, okay, I can be powerful, but power can also be used against me.
Yes.
You can't just be all on offense, putting it down there like, I can do this now. You can also be the subject of someone's victim. You can be the victim of someone. So you have to be able to position yourself and know what you can do from a position of power and from a position where you can be the one defending against someone else's power, someone overpowering you, someone doing, should I say, political bullying, something like that.
Right.
Yeah. You have to be able to defend yourself. And I believe, though those samples are for the ancient times, there's a lot of things that Robert Greene has actually written there that's rooted, like Greece, ancient Greece, all of these things. And of course, we're basically our roots.
Yeah.
Like Rome. Like, he mentioned a lot about Niccolo Machiavelli. Yeah, even Napoleon. But still, those things discussed there, if you get the certain patterns of how they think
Yeah.
and how they defend themselves, you can still apply that to today. So that's
Human tendencies.
yeah, it's never gonna change. Human nature, man. So that's the first book. The second book is, I believe this is going to be John Maxwell's, I forgot how many, but I believe 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, if I'm not mistaken.
John Maxwell.
Yeah. It's something of that, because he has all of these titles. He got it mixed up in my head. But for me, the first thing, it's beyond persuasion. Technically, it's you want to be a leader. And for me, something I would recommend, because being a leader doesn't just teach you authority. It actually teaches you that for you to be able to lead people, considering that you have the best of deeds and the best of intentions, you have to be a good person. Again, you cannot fill the cup of others when yours is not filled. The same way, I don't want to fill someone with poison just because I'm filled with poison.
Of course.
Right? I want to be someone who carries this person to the next level, not to the lower levels, man. Because either way, you can persuade someone to be here or to be down here with you. Misery loves company. So that book teaches you to hold yourself accountable a lot.
Right.
Right? And especially beyond that, we're not talking about just purely business here. You can lead your family because eventually for men, you're going to be the leader of your family. You have to be able to provide. You have to be able to provide beyond the financial means, but beyond that leadership, where in terms of intention, where in terms of values, you should go as an individual. And beyond that, even your romantic relationships, you have to be able to direct yourself before you start directing your woman. So I truly believe that book goes way beyond the way people see it to be as just like a business leadership book. It's going to definitely change your life, all in all. And the last book I would definitely recommend, I would definitely say the Bible at least. But, I cannot speak much of that right now because I'll be honest with you guys. I just started reading the Bible, right? And I started realizing that there's a lot of lessons there. There's a lot of lessons there. Almost every single thing that is happening right now is rooted in that book. I mean, it doesn't have to be like too specific, but you get the idea that things are happening now that have happened back then. And you get to see where things can go because history tends to repeat itself. In one way or another, history tends to repeat itself. So, yeah, but again, I'm not yet done with that book. But the last book I'm definitely going to recommend to people is, I believe it's, what you call this one? Sorry for forgetting about this book. Okay. Since we're talking to men.
Okay,
we're talking to men here. I have to recommend Rational Male.
Rational Men?
Rational Male.
Okay, Rational Men.
Rational Male.
Never heard this book.
I'm gonna go beyond 3 books, man. I think it is not enough. But yeah, that's well. Why do I say Rational Male? Because let's just be honest. For a lot of men, especially in my age bracket, we spend a lot of our energy searching or at least putting ourselves in a position to be noticed by the opposite sex.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, a man's life would be fairly simple.
Yeah.
Had it not been that women wanted this, they didn't want that, they want to be seen by this certain type of guy. Men could live in the simplest apartments, in the simplest
in a closet,
like a bed here, like you're gonna have just
I've been there.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
You can be fine with those kind of things. You don't even have a television, have a laptop. You're basically fine with that, right?
Yeah.
But right now we live in a generation where attention is currency, and it's not that easy when you're trying to compete with millions and billions of men
Exactly.
for a certain archetype of a woman.
Yes.
And I've always said this because I believe women are the best thing about life. I've always believed that they could multiply whatever it is that God is giving you. I actually believe that they are God's way of nurturing you here, because I would want to be with a woman, of course, that nurtures me, that allows me, that she is actually my space, my space for peace. I don't want to be I don't want to be going home and I'm in business.
Yeah.
That's war.
Going through wars.
I'm getting punched in the face. I'm punching someone in the face after training, during training. That's also war. And just go back to home and start getting
Another war.
Come on. And
I
did not sign up.
Want to get so sanctuary.
Yeah. So I want a sanctuary.
Yeah.
And I believe that it's extremely important for a man to know,
Of course.
how to, I would not say demand, because demand is a big word. It's a tough word. But to command, rather, to command respect. Because when your woman respects you, I cannot even mention anything that would equate the level of love that they could give you as a man. Yeah, it's a different level of experience when a woman is completely head over heels in love with you, and she knows that you're also the guy that she wants to be with. No words can explain or describe what kind of experience that would be, because not any form of money, no price in the world could ever pay for that. It's a different kind of feeling. And I believe that for you to reach that level, you must love women for who they are and not for what you want them to be. And that book, going back to that book will explain a lot of things. For a lot of people, it might be like, I would not say Machiavellian, man. It's not that. It's not the intent of the book, but it's to educate them on how the opposite sex really behaves.
Yeah.
So that you get to understand them, you get to communicate better with them. So yeah, and other than that, any more books that I can recommend, man, I would really suggest people just read, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
sure.
yeah. I mean, I don't know really the topics for a lot of people, but just continuously master that skill of wanting to be a learner, because people may not notice this, but a lot of times once you start thinking that you know enough about the subject matter, you start leaning against that, and you're no longer that interested. That's where you start dying. Either grow or you're
That's
dead.
true.
And that's the end of your learning.
Yeah.
That's the end of you becoming a better, a more efficient, a more effective, competitive individual at that level. So just master the skill of learning overall. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's right, as in like having that mindset of seeking you shall find, always seeking.
Oh yeah.
Because at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I tell like some of the people I work with, like, I am forever a white belt. Because, I've been in martial arts.
Oh yeah, I love that, man.
I'm always forever a white belt. You're never, ever, ever, like, there's a saying, like, when you become a black belt, that's when you start learning. Because that's when you never master anything. That's the beginning of everything. You just got the prerequisites.
You're zeroed in.
Yeah.
Like you're like hungry to learn.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. You know, you have a cup, but it's not yet filled.
No.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really amazing, especially when you touched on how to properly treat a woman. I am a person of, like, I really believe in traditional roles.
Yeah.
So, me and my wife have a sense of synergy.
Okay.
And it took us a long time to get there. What was, like, one of the biggest accomplishments for 2023 for you?
What was that?
Biggest accomplishment. Biggest, like,
Oh, yeah.
like, dude, like, man, I made it. Like, I did something really great. What was the biggest accomplishment for you?
I like that question because I believe for a lot of people, they highlight the things that, I did this and I did that. But I'm going to highlight last year that it was actually the worst position for me mentally.
Okay.
A lot of people know that, but they did not know how deep I was actually into that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm not the kind of person who's going to tell you, like, Gil, I have a bad day, let's talk about it for the next 5 hours. I'm not going to lure you into the depths of what I'm going through. I'm going to tell you I have a bad day, and I'm going to tell you, you know what, bro, but just go in real life. I'm going to handle this on my own. So last year, my primary highlight was that I went through the toughest time at around mid-year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it actually broke my heart having to experience that because there were a lot of, I know I hate the word, but there's a lot of regrets, by the way. Because when you hurt people unintentionally, that takes a toll on you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's one thing for you to know that you've inflicted something to yourself and you could deal with that because you know yourself. Considering that you've analyzed yourself on a level, I knew for a fact that I could get over with those things. But knowing you've hurt people, because I'm not that innocent, right?
Yeah.
I've had bad things done to me. I've had bad things done to others. So for me, at the worst situation of my life, it was only then that I've actually felt alone.
Wow.
Right? And at that time, I remembered completely just sitting. I'm not even gonna lie. There were times where I was at the edge of my bed. Like I had tears in my eyes. I was in denial of that I was in pain. And the moment you start being in denial of things, that's where they're most powerful.
Yes.
So I was literally just in tears that time. I did not know what to do. And I remembered the story of heartbreak that I've experienced a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I've replicated the exact feeling in just a completely different scenario because it was that feeling. I remember that. I felt this before.
Wow.
Now, what did I do? The only reason I got here, that I evolved as an individual, is because I did a set of things for me to break out from this desperate place that I'm into. So what I did was, now I have this much fuel. I had so much anger in my heart that time. Nobody knew about this. Nobody heard much about this, other than maybe like people asking when they would not stop asking me. Of course they knew. But the only way for me is through.
Yeah.
I cannot be running away because I've always had this analogy. When you run away from your problems, when you get there, they'll catch up to you.
There's Haitian me,
Right? So I sat there. The one thing I said to myself is, you know what, Arv? You were doing good working out in the gym. You're going to do better. You're going to try something new. I tried boxing. I haven't tried boxing before. I tried Muay Thai. Haven't tried boxing before. So I did boxing that time. Of course, gotten myself beat, punched in the face a lot of times.
Yeah.
But even that physical pain wasn't enough I had to be effective because when you're training, you're like training for an hour. What the hell the hell else would you do for the rest of the 23 hours left for the day? So I had another thing to do. Like I said, my business was doing okay, but okay is not sufficient.
Right.
When you want to become a top 1%er, when you want to become the best at what you're doing, okay is not a good ending.
Yeah.
And anything less than absolute excellence is not enough. And I've always declared to myself that I have this thing that I say to myself every single morning, that I am greatness. Greatness wouldn't settle for okay, average. There's nothing great about that. The fact that you're great, it means that you've done something that's hard to obtain.
Yeah.
And what is hard to obtain at that point? For me, number one, what's hard to obtain is, of course, a consistent level of performance in business wherein I get to do something completely difficult, which is close multiple deals every single month. Close so many clients, big clients as well, end up with the biggest revenue, the sales that I could possibly come up with. And I did that, by the way. But beyond that, it was simply just me pushing myself to the next level, no matter how that looks like. If I feel that I could be doing something now, for example, I'm just literally sitting here, tired. A part of me would tell myself, Arvin, you're tired, but someone else out there is also tired. He's working.
Yes.
How does that make you feel? It makes me feel insecure that I am not living up to my potential. I don't feel insecure about anyone else here. I don't compare myself. I say this all the time. There's not a single person here in this planet alive that could make me feel inferior because I believe in myself that much. But the only time I feel inferior is when I'm not doing enough. When I know I could be doing this and I chose to be lying down here, like what most people do, like watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I know someone else is doing something better for me. He's going to get the results that I want because he simply edged me out a bit.
Yes.
So I cannot be that kind of person who observes someone taking first place, taking that medal, when I should be the one receiving that.
Yeah.
So that's me now telling myself last year, okay, I have all the fuel that I needed. I have because God gives you your prayers through different trials. That was the trial. So for me, identifying a certain trial for myself, that was the beginning of it all, because now I know that, okay, this is a certain situation I've experienced in a different form back then, but there are patterns to this. I applied the exact same pattern of what I did, personal development. When I say personal development, I'm not talking about getting up at 5 a.m. again, right? I'm talking about absolutely being obsessed about getting better to the point that it doesn't even make sense for a lot of people anymore.
Right.
They don't even want to be around you anymore because it makes them feel so uncomfortable that I would not recommend that, by the way, right? But, when you're trying to get over something, you have to be almost a monster.
You have to.
You have to. Yeah. You have to break the patterns of the old person that you're trying to, should I say, kill.
Exactly.
Because this person's ineffective.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to kill yourself physically.
Right.
But what is the best part about life is you could recreate yourself beyond the physical. Of course, you can't do physically. Spiritually, you could recreate yourself. Mentally, you could recreate yourself. There's literally so many things that you can do for you to reach your next level, and that's what I did. So my highlight for last year was going through the toughest time ever in my life and making it the best year ever in business, physically, in terms of my relationships, and of course, financially. So that's it.
Well, it's amazing because I think it all goes down to identifying and obsessing over, I gotta change.
Yeah.
Like I gotta change. So, how can people reach you socially? Like social media.
Oh, man.
Give those up.
I like that, but I'm working on my social media brands right now, and I'm just getting started on working on my TikTok again. So obviously, I will. You can check me on TikTok. So I have there I have there in TikTok like Arvin Jo. Just search it there.
Arvin Jo.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll find me there. I'm so proud of my name, man. Like.
So it's a very catchy name. It's like Arvin Jo, two syllables, right? It's two syllables.
Yes, you can search me there, Arvin Jo, and you'll also find me in Facebook. However, I have this page in Facebook that I haven't really taken much attention. I haven't given much attention to, so it's not that updated. It's kind of outdated, definitely. The last post was like 2021, 2022.
Yeah, okay.
But you can add me on Facebook. You can add me on Facebook. Yeah, or maybe you can follow me. I don't know. Still Arvin Jo, of course. Yeah, but technically it. You can follow me in IG, and I love posting things about my lifestyle there. You would get to see me actually going through it. It's some things that you can also apply to yourself as well. So I do martial arts. You could see it there. Go to the beach from time to time, celebrate with friends from time to time, but basically being an excellent individual. So
What does 2024 look like for you?
2024 looks like absolute greatness for me in all areas. Because, by the way, this is my first time doing this whole podcasting. Yeah,
We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. I'm really happy because the way I see greatness cannot be some light that you carry for yourself.
Yeah.
It's a light that you share to the world. And the way I see it is this year is going to be all about leadership. Me building my team beyond my team here in my business industry, my industry. It's going to be beyond that. But even more than that, should I say my circle, the company that I allow myself to be immersed to, I'm working on that. And of course, I have to be a person of value to be able to give. That's greatness. And of course, it's going to be a year of as well of new experiences because I'm going to be traveling a lot this year to different countries, something that I haven't really paid attention to have done much in the entirety technically of my life. It's also going to be a year of me of absolutely dominating on my personal production, no matter how that looks like. Because if you're a businessman or you're an entrepreneur, you should be leading by example. And I cannot be teaching people when I'm no longer practicing the principles myself.
Right.
So I have to do things that would allow people to take charge with me instead of them just taking charge because of my instruction. It cannot be that. So
Right.
I have to be taking charge. And the way I do that is, of course, by dominating in my own professional field. And of course, last but not the least, this is going to be a year of me embracing life overall. I believe gratitude is one of the best things for you to practice, the best ways for you to have and go through with a certain lens in life. Because when you see is everything is a blessing that's happening regardless of good and bad, the things that you're thankful for, it becomes magnified.
Right.
Right? So I'm extremely thankful for a lot of things, and I see myself multiplying the greatness that I see for myself 10x, not just for myself, but for my family, for my loved ones, for my circle. So that's it.
That's really amazing. I look forward to it because this might be what you see is Arvin right now in the next year might be totally different. And I love the fact that I captured it before it even happened. We started the game, so February here. I just want to thank Arvin for coming on the podcast, as well as sharing really great details about his life. And hopefully you see the value and what it takes to be someone like him. And hopefully, and I'm sure you this is the same with him. I want everyone in my life to do better than me. And just so, I just want to be that guy or that person to be the catalyst for them to move forward and do better in life. And at the end of the day, we're both giving value to other people's lives. So thank you guys. Hit him up on his socials if you want to do business with him and or just follow his journey into becoming the person that he's going to be 2024. So everyone, take care. God bless. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.